Good afternoon, everyone. It's not coming on projector.
Can I just come up? So you have to change the resolution.
I am. Are we okay? Perfect. Can I get a follow mic? Follow mic? Thank you. While the mic comes, good afternoon again, everyone. The interesting way in which the last panel finished, talking about the profitability of the retail industry. So what I have to present has a lot to do with the profitability, essentially talking a lot about the profitability. Right. Thank you. So my name is Bijaei Jayaraj, and I work for a company called Loylty Rewards. We are an organization that is focused on consumer relationship and loyalty management activities. So like I said, talking about the retail profitability, our organization had the wonderful opportunity recently to meet with a whole lot of very focused retail organization, and we asked them these 5 questions. I essentially wanted to start with this. It's perhaps very, very relevant to everybody here. Would any of your organizations, and some of you would, but largely at a India retail industry at large, the number of consumers who you lost in the last 3 months, would you know that as an organization? Or which of your customers went to a competition outlet in the last 3 months? Or would you know what is the share of business that you get from the customers who come to you vis-a-vis those same customers, what they give to your competitive organizations? And can you reach out directly to your consumers and talk to them directly, understanding them well? Is that something which you are able to do? And most importantly, if a competitor of yours says yes to all of the above, would that bother you significantly? I think these are extremely pertinent questions, and we actually did a survey, roughly about 150 retailers, and this is how the answers came about. As you can see, these are clearly questions which are very difficult to answer. The number of customers who you lost in 3 months, or share of wallet, or how many of these customers go to your competition, and lastly, can you reach out to any of these customers? And significantly answer, as you can see, the positive yes is 3%, 2%, share of business almost 0%. Can you reach out to consumers directly? 5 organizations out of 100 on an average said yes, and of course everybody said that it would bother them if your competition knows all of this. So fundamental question essentially is, as an organization that work in the consumer loyalty space with a lot of data, and we live day in and day out in tons and millions of data, and we work very closely with a lot of very large organizations like banks, retailers, etc. And one of the key questions that I can't really understand is, why don't we really respect data? There's so much that is going on, and I'll prove this question with some empirical slides as well. So if I were to ask you the number of percentage of recorded transaction in India, and when I say recorded transaction, what I mean is, when Mr. A goes to a store and buys something worth 500 rupees, The store makes a note of it, saying that Mr. A came on so and so day and such time and bought something worth 500 rupees. That's a recorded transaction. Vis-a-vis, Mr. B goes to the store and buys something, gives 500 rupees, takes whatever he wants to get and walks away with no record of it maintained. So would you know of the gigantic $600 billion retail industry that we have here in India, what percentage of those transactions are recorded? You would be surprised actually. It's less than 1%. And I am saying that putting all of the new age great businesses, Pantaloon, Lifestyle, and like somebody else said, you can count out 15 outlets at 15 brands at best. And if you put all their transactions that go through their loyal customers, so to speak, Shoppers Stop, for example, perhaps have a very high percentage of consumers shopping from their First Citizens loyalty program, and that's all recorded transaction. So if you take the percentage of the top line that comes from recorded transaction and add up all the retailers, all of them will not add up to 36,000 crores, which is 1% of this industry. Which actually makes us wonder, if you have this gigantic retail industry, 1.3 billion consumers, over 30 million retail outlets where you can buy a Coke from, but still very, very heavily under database as an industry. Like I said, recorded transactions are almost nil, seriously speaking, at a retail industry level. And as a result, clearly the last panel's ending topic of profitability. So somebody did said, okay, you can't really blame the e-commerce companies. How about before they came? Even then, was this industry really hitting out and making a lot of profit? Really, we work very closely with this industry and we see so many sales going on. Online sale is another thing altogether. Even offline sale, which was there even before the online sale started, where you say go to school, come to school, Christmas, New Year. You're practically looking for every other opportunity to sell stuff at 40% discount. And then what happens? I'll give you some comparative numbers. Let's take banking industry as a industry close to retail industry. Banking industry today caters to maybe about 400-500 million people of the total 1.3. Not everybody participates, not everybody has a bank account. The buy who's probably going to lose the job doesn't have a bank account. She gets money in hand. And if you look at the profitability on a comparative basis, you will see that there are banks in this country which is making 10,000, 15,000 crores net profit. There are banks at 11,000, 10,000, 7,000, 3,000, 4,000 crores net profit. Now we looked closely at the retail industry and it's not a pretty picture there. And there are various reasons for it, online, offline, high real estate cost, etc., etc. But fundamentally, we as an organization started to look closely, deeply as to why an industry like retail industry, which is much larger than the banking industry. The entire 1.3 billion people really participates in the retail industry. And why wouldn't a retail industry create a Walmart, in India? Perhaps in some way, one of the reasons we think is the last 25 years, when I was a kid, when I walked into a store, the storekeeper knew me and I would know him, his father and his son. India as a country was very closely connected on a very personal level. And the last 25 years of urbanization, rapid globalization, GDP growth, all of this has really resulted in this entire personal connect breaking down. It's perhaps an evolutionary process from being a young India to, growing India to multinationals coming in. One cert who used to stand in a shop now has 10 shops. He can't practically stand everywhere, and so he doesn't know each and every one of his customers anymore. And he has people standing in the store who churn. So really that personal connect in many, many ways has really broken down. And that has not yet got replaced by technology. So we are practically talking about an industry which is very highly under databased and sitting with not serious amount of data and deep understanding of the consumers. And I'm not talking about the new age online retailers who do have some amount of data, but at large as a country, we have very, very low percentage of databased management of the consumers. So the question then we started to ask is, how can this possibly get better? How can this situation get better? Say, if you can identify consumers with high propensity to buy what your organization has to offer. Having really looked into the consumer's behavior for a past window of time with recorded transactions, understand what does he buy, how frequently does he buy, what does he like, and if you have an opportunity to reach out to those consumers directly, knowing that here is a consumer who definitely needs to buy a mobile phone in the next 6 days, and then being able to reach out to that consumer and directly connect. Is that something which as an industry at large, retail industry is able to do today? I think largely no. Barring few organizations who do it reasonably well, largely as an industry at large, we do not know this. And very often the question, even in the last panel, someone actually mentioned that the softer aspects of the relationship management. So when it comes to, product buying, processes, merchandising, stocking, warehousing, all of that is very hard. And of course you raise tons and tons of money, and you give stuff free and create an industry, that is all fine. But when it comes to truly deeply understanding the consumer behavior and being able to connect with the consumer, that is a fundamental question which a lot of people really. So recently an organization called us, the retail chain, and the promoter of that organization said, listen, I don't know much about our consumers. I don't know what's the gender split, age split, repeat frequency, but we don't know whether we really need a loyalty program, whether we should run a loyalty program. And I said, that's a good place to start. At least you know that you don't know that whether you need a loyalty program or not. The fact is that if you already have an understanding that loyalty program, software aspects, not really, some points, does it really work? You give 2 points to consumers, buy 100 rupees, and every 100 rupees I'll give you 2 points. Do really 2 points swing the consumer's behavior? 2 points worth 50 paisa or 75 paisa out of 100 rupees. And half of them do not even know whether they're getting points actually. So can you really put out 2 loyalty points to consumers for every 100 rupees and bribe his loyalty? Can you influence his purchasing behavior? Our understanding is really consumer's mind in today's world, which is so full of, offers, sale, buy one, get one free, every third day, 2 transactions free. In a world like that, throwing 2 points at him really doesn't matter much. Having been with a loyalty organization called Loylty Rewards, and we run significantly large loyalty programs, and our true understanding is that it is really not about that point play. So what is that really then? What really matters from our understanding is, if you have the ability to deeply understand your consumers, it's not really about the points. Can you really understand what that consumer likes? What is his frequency of purchase? What is his pattern of purchase? What is his likes and dislikes and preferences? And be able to offer to that consumer something just about the time when he's about to really look for it. Or in other words, can you really reach out to your consumers and make him, at least for once, say in his mind, hey, these guys really know me. I think that's completely missing. The ability to reach out to your consumers and being able to understand their behavior, and that all of that can happen only if you record the transaction, understand the pattern of his coming back. Do you know what share of business do you get? Say for example, if you run a medical store, a consumer walks out of his house and he might have 4 or 5 medical stores nearby, and he might go once here, twice there, depending on which hospital he came out to or which direction is he going in. So amongst these medical stores, would they really know why a consumer doesn't give one store 100% of his business? What is his buying pattern? Somebody actually said, oh, we have a reasonably decent idea about his buying pattern. We get about 50% of his transactions. We looked closer and we realized that there is a significant difference in the ATV. For example, he does 100 transactions, he was giving 50 in one store, 50 in his competition. The competition store, which is getting 50 transactions, was actually getting value of 75. Whereas the other store was getting 50 transactions, walk in, all the hustle about selling, all of that, but getting only 25% of the volume of business. And the 75 actually also goes to high value, high profit business. The retailer had no idea. So our real understanding is whether you are able to reach out analyze and understand truly deeply what the consumer really likes. What is the life cycle stage that is he? Is he a young person, and these are the things. If he's done, for example, you go and buy a washing machine, and the next 2 weeks, if you keep getting offers from various websites that buy another washing machine, that's not very smart. But if you're able to get the next thing which is logically the consumer might purchase, that's very smart. So being able to really deeply understand and get that, so that is something which as an organization we work on. So we believe that knowing your consumers deeply will make a significant change from all the conversation that is today going on in the retail industry. If there is one place, for example, where a very large number of consumers, say 370 million cards, they transact on a monthly basis, the volume of business that is done is about over 6,000 crores in a month, about $1 billion. About over 30 million transactions every month, or cumulatively 900 million transactions that all of these consumers have done over a period of time. And if you have the opportunity to reach out and have this data of so many consumers every month spending 6,000 crores, 10 months you're talking about 60,000 crores, all of those data cut, sliced, analyzed, categorized, knowing which consumers buying electronics, which consumers buying apparel, at what frequency, what is his frequency of buying of apparel, what is his share of entertainment, what is his share of electronics, to that degree of analyzed data. If you have all of the data in one place, that is what we as an organization do on a platform level called Max Get More. Essentially, via managing some very large loyalty program for perhaps most of the banks in this country. As you can see, arguably any bank, large size bank, starting from State Bank to Punjab National Bank to Union Bank to Central Bank to Corporation Bank to Federal Bank, Karur Vysya Bank, IDB, a whole lot of banks, we fundamentally run loyalty programs for these banks, incentivizing their consumers' behavior to a specific channel which is preferred by the bank, while at the same time working very closely with a large number of retail organizations across India, and working closely with the marketing teams of these retail organizations and letting them gain deep insights and understanding of the consumers who go there, and also allowing them to gain more consumers who are perhaps going to their competition right now. Sorry. Both online and offline. So that is essentially what Max Get More as a platform is. In other words, think of large number of different loyalty programs coming together on a common platform, and all of those loyalty programs have consumers doing millions of transactions, and all of those transactions are analyzed, sliced and diced, and insights generated, which as an organization you can reach out to. So honestly, really, as an organization, we believe that in some ways it's a service to the retail industry of this country, where and we still have a hard time when we sit across retail organizations and share with them what kind of deep insights that we can share with them about the consumers who go there and those consumers who go elsewhere as well, which practically is not a kind of a data that is available. We still have a hard time, retailers really quickly being able to understand and appreciate the significance and value of the data that is available. So that is really what, and these are, and occasionally when a retailer is really able to reach out and connect and join this platform, Max Get More, and then say that, okay, here is an opportunity where I can reach out and communicate to specific consumers across India in whichever place that you want. Okay, I have a store operating in Coimbatore and I want a store launch communication with a special offer. And can we know if that's an apparel outlet, for example, can we know in the catchment area who are the real consumers who might have a high propensity score for an apparel purchase? Can we reach out to them to come and sample our product, come to our store and experience the purchasing process? So that is something which organizations have been able to appreciate and being able to deliver significant amount of value for these partners who actually understand and appreciate the data. And like I said, as an organization, we process significant amount of data every month, over 33 million transactions, 6,000 crores each transaction, down to the extent of knowing who is that consumer, which store did he go, how much did he spend, what kind of a store is it, where is it located, and store that data and create massive amount of consumer insights and intelligence which the retail industry truly can benefit from. But surprisingly, like we said earlier, we don't see a lot of appreciation for data, and profitability is still somewhat far as an industry, but there are ways in which you can really reach out and connect to the consumer. The consumer will significantly value that if you make them believe even once that you really understand them as an individual. Not as a mass mail blindly shot out. As an individual, truly you understand that consumer, you understand his likes, patterns, and what is his potential next buy, and if you are able to make an offer to him which is relevant to him, that will swing behavior significantly, and that's really what we've seen. And it's a wonderful experience to actually see Consumer Connect working out well for the business. Well, that's about it. Thank you so much.
Invite on stage Mr. Rajesh Khubchandani to please come forward and present a token of gratitude to our speaker, Mr. Bijaei Jayaraj.